Look at your neighbor, tell them life happens. I know the world got their saying, but look at your neighbor and say, life happens. You can't stop it. So God said, I've heard people say, well, since this has happened, I can't possibly do that now. Who said it? Who told you to do it? The Bible said God don't change like that. Are you expecting me to now still walk this thing out when I'm going through this crisis? No. Saints, you can't build faith in a crisis. You have to have faith built before crisis. You're not going to know how to handle this if you got to build when you get in it. When the phone call come, when the doctor say what he say, you got to have already built your faith, because if you haven't built your faith, this is too much to keep moving with. Here's how you can tell whether you've built your faith. If this stops you, you have not built your faith. If this makes you turn away, you have not built your faith. If this makes you go sit down and cry for 3 weeks, you have not built your faith. I didn't say you don't cry. Cry all you need to cry, but cry with a made up mind that I ain't quitting, I ain't stopping, I'm going after what God showed me. I haven't reached my goal yet. I'm not stopping here. The enemy wants to keep me busy so I can't do what I'm called to do. Just doing all kind of wonderful things for Jesus. Just all kind of good stuff, except the stuff that gets me there. How many of y'all know there's going to always be something else to do other than what you should be doing right now? People ask me questions all the time. Say, well, how do you go through all the things that you go through in life but still manage to do the things that you got to do? Let me tell you something. You have to deem something important. And something's got to be more important than everything else. The way you keep at it is that you've accepted the assignment. Listen, saints. How many of y'all watch Mission Impossible? Anybody ever see the movie Mission Impossible? If you choose to accept this assignment, so you got to understand, you chose to accept an assignment. There's going to be something trying to stop you from fulfilling it. But if you choose to accept it, you're going to have to go through some stuff. But you're not going to stop because there is some stuff. Look at somebody, tell them there's going to be some stuff that you're not going to like in your lifetime. What you going to do with this stuff in the middle stuff? What you going to do with this here stuff? What you going to do with this stuff? Well, I'm going to just stop. I'm going to just quit. I'm going to just give up. I can't do it now. How do we know that this is an enemy? There's a couple things I want to show you. First thing, I want you to get this. Your ability to dominate time is negatively affected by worry, fear, and doubt. Your ability to dominate time, in other words, to get everything out of it that you're supposed to get out of it, is negatively affected by worry. Your mental state will be in battle or confusion. Listen, when the doctor says, we'll let you know in 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, your mental state, if you aren't settled in God, will be in disarray, and confusion. So now here I am in heavy contemplation about something here when the day before I was going after something there. Saints, listen to me, and this is very serious. In these moments, you got to hear God like never before. You got to be so reminded You got to put God's promise in your heart so that when these natural moments come, you don't forfeit the destiny. You lose your job right here. You get fired right here. Somebody walk off and leave you right here. Does that stop that from existing? No, it exists because God already spoke this. He's already been there. That's what I mean by time is a mental composition. If you were to look up the word mental composition, be careful looking into it. But if you were to look up the word mental composition, it contains past and present realities. I mean, past and future realities. There's a future component to time. There's something, Jesus said, my time is not yet full. It's not yet come. What is he saying? He's saying that in time, there is a future component that exists now. It's true today. Listen, saints, it can take you 6 weeks to get to it, but a focused person can get there in 6 days. It took them 40 years, not because it takes 40 years. It took them 40 years because of their mental composition. It doesn't take 40 years, but it can take you 40. Somebody else will do it in 40 days. Some of us are going to do this thing in the next 4 months of your life, and some of you it's going to take the next 4 years because you have not figured out how to handle this. This thing that God says is going to come to everybody's life. Everybody's going to deal with a this. Everybody's going to have to go through a this. Everybody's going to have to deal with this loss, this frustration. Everybody's going to have to deal with something comes in the family system. Everybody's going to have to deal with a child acting crazy. Everybody's going to have to deal with some form of somebody dying in your family system that you wasn't ready to die. But here, this thing is not intended by God to cancel that. And you got to decide before this comes. Who am I? Where am I headed? What am I going to do? And I'm trusting God who started me. See, this is what I like about God. He starts me off in peace because he knows there's going to come a crisis. And when the crisis comes, it's not to stop my pursuit. It's to fortify me further in my faith. I'm going to cry. I'm going to hurt. But God says I'm only going to park for 3 days. I'm given 3 days to get myself together. And after 3 days, I'm getting up from here. You want to think God is harsh? When Moses died, God gave the people 30 days to mourn. He gave Joshua, who was the closest person to him, none. He said, the people can take 30 days. You get over here and take these instructions. You know why? Because while I'm going to let them mourn, because they don't know no better, they can't see. You the leader. I want to talk to you about where we're going next. That sounds harsh. You're the closest person to him. You've been spending all kind of time with him, and he is now gone. And God says, I'm too concerned about my people to give away 30 days to the enemy to play with leadership's mind. So even in the face of death, you got to understand that if he dies, you must keep it moving. I can't make it. I can't go. Didn't die too. There's a bridge down there. You know, go ahead. I mean, there's a bridge. If you can't make it, go. But you spend the next 3.5 years of your life telling people what you can't do, and I ain't going, I'm refusing. What you're really displaying is a lack of development. Y'all better hear me, because something's coming into your life. Listen, you ain't gonna get notification of all these cones. You better have your faith walk solidified before the cone shows up. Because it's coming. But it's not intended to stop you from your domination of every moment of your life. I'm after it. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Some of us sleep too much. You should be doing some work. You should be working on something. You in the bed, resting. Resting for what? You ain't did nothing. Just resting, child. I'm just enjoying life, child. No, you should be setting up the next generation. You should be going after something that pushes the bar forward. But here you are taking a break. Jesus said, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me. There's an assignment on you that you should be working on. The future event is not the problem. It's not the results from the doctor that's the problem. It's the ideas that I have in my head because of what I heard. Somebody's going to get bold enough in God to say, I can control those results. I can control this second I'm in right now. I'm not giving up this second to something that's 2 weeks away. If that doctor going to tell me in 2 weeks that I'm dying, I'm going to do some serious putting stuff together. So by the time I'm out of here, I will have accomplished some stuff. I ain't going to give up now before I even hear the announcement. Are y'all with me?